Welcome back to the Print on Demand cast. This week we're talking about hiring your first VA. Let's get into it.
Radical! Welcome to this week's episode of the Print on Demand cast. Each week, join the gnarly Travis and Josiah as they provide insight into the print on demand industry and equip you with the totally tubular tools, advice, and strategies you need to achieve success and hopefully have a few laughs along the way. Now on to this week's totally tubular show.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Print on Demand cast. It's great to be with you. We hope you all had a fun and safe 4th of July. And joining me this week, as is every week, Travis Ross from Make Your Mark Design. Travis, how's it going over there? And how you doing after a holiday weekend?
Well, I think you're leading me up to something there because you know something that our listeners don't.
That's true.
But before we get into that, I'd like to know what you did because I feel like mine's probably going to upstage yours.
Probably. Yeah. So I had some family in town. My cousin and my nephew and his girlfriend were here. They came from South Carolina, where he's currently going to chiropractic school. So picked them up on Wednesday from my niece's place in Cheyenne and drove down and just had fun. Thursday morning, I should say, we went and played pickleball for about 2.5 hours and had a grand time doing that. Lots of fun. Of course, people listening probably know that I enjoy a good pickleball game. The night before that, however, I did something that I wouldn't necessarily recommend, but it was quite delicious. My nephew and I went to In-N-Out and we went to Chick-fil-A. And then what we did was we combined the two. And so what you're looking at there is a double with a spicy chicken patty inside of it. So like a combo, but it was delicious. I don't recommend it often or ever, but it was really good for that one moment in time. So
wow,
that's what we did Wednesday night. And then Thursday went over to my in-laws' place. My mother-in-law was out of town, so it was just Jason and I and Josh and Carly and some of the fam playing games, hanging out, and the golf course across the way does fireworks there. So we're in a good, pretty close in proximity to that. So went up and watched that from the deck that they have there. And I will say, listening to Ray Charles' America the Beautiful and Chris Stapleton's Star Spangled Banner while fireworks are going off is probably some of those patriotic moments you'll ever have. So I highly recommend that for your 4th of July playlist next year, because it makes everything hit a little bit different. But Travis, how was you, man? I know I set you up earlier. You were supposed to be at Lake Jackson, but then either nerve endings and or just, life, back problems, they had other plans for you.
Yeah, so I have like a reoccurring kind of back issue that I've had since my 20s, actually. Like usually I aggravate it like once a year or so, sometimes twice a year, sometimes, less, I don't know. But Wednesday day, I was picking up some packages and putting them in my trunk. And I noticed, I was like, oh, there it goes. I can recognize it now. And it's just, sometimes it varies in severity. And so I was like, oh, that wasn't that bad. I just need to take it easy and chill out. Well, that's all good and, fine when it's not 4th of July weekend that you've already planned to go camping at a friend's lake and then also do a show with your band that you do every year on Saturday. So anyway, that night, so that was Wednesday night. So that was the 3rd. We went and our town of Erie actually has a fireworks show on the 3rd. So I think, honestly, everyone's like, oh, it's so people can enjoy on the 4th and blah, blah, blah. I think it's because Erie doesn't want to pay their employees time and a half to do it on the 4th. So
yeah.
Anyway, so we walked up to there's like as the town, we can overlook the town by just walking to a little spot kind of close to our house. So we did that. That was, my back was like, oh, and then we sat down and I was like, oh, this doesn't feel good, but it's what you do with your family. So we did that. And then Thursday we got up and got ready to go to a lake where our keyboard player has like, it's like you know, you're on a list, and this is the lake. They have like a permanent site here, and they let us bring out our pop-up, which you can see there's our pop-up right there. And then this is their permanent like camper that they have there. And it's all right on a lake. It's gorgeous. And so we went out and set that up. And while I was setting that up, I realized I think I cranked one, you know, lever too many times or something, and like kind of aggravated my back even worse than it was. And so I was in pretty good amount of pain that Thursday night. We saw some people shoot up some fireworks across the lake and went to bed. And the only way I could get relief was like laying down. And so the next morning I was not doing well. So I decided to come home and thinking, well, I'll be able to rest, you know, it'll be easier because I got my bed. And, you know, I don't know if that was the best idea, because all of a sudden I'm at home and I don't have anybody to help me.
Right.
And I pretty much laid in bed all day. Well, the rest of that Friday, all day Saturday, my wife came home Saturday night. I had to skip our gig at Lake Jackson, because I basically I couldn't walk. It was really, really bad. And then pretty much all day yesterday until the evening, it started getting a little bit better. Yes, I've taken muscle relaxers. Yes, I've taken steroids. Yes, I've taken pain pills, all of that stuff. I don't know how well any of it really helps, but the moral of the story is don't screw up your back, because it really sucks.
Especially on a holiday weekend.
Yeah. But the cool thing was that since my family was out by that lake, so AJ has, her place is like one lake over from Lake Jackson, which is where this was our 6th year, my band playing their 4th of July celebration. And they have the coolest fireworks display you have ever seen in your life. And everyone's like, don't post your fireworks on Facebook. No one's going to care. No one's going to watch them. Well, if you're watching this on YouTube, I promise you're going to like this. Because my daughter, actually, my 2 daughters and my son went there anyway Saturday night and got to see our band play without me, and also stayed through the fireworks and took this video. So go ahead and roll that, Josiah. So they're like right under where they're shooting these things off, like 200 yards maybe. And so obviously it's just massive noise and, you know, huge explosions. And these guys, I mean, they put thousands of dollars into this. So this is obviously their grand finale, but you got to wait for it, because there's something else that's gonna happen here in a second. How about that for a mini nuclear explosion?
Yes, a giant bomb, basically.
They do it every year, and every year it scares the crap out of me. You can feel the heat, because I mean, it's again, it's like, you know, 1.5 football fields away or so, and it's this massive explosion, you know, mushroom cloud thing that just lights the whole sky up, and you can feel the heat. It's probably illegal, but it's awesome.
It's okay. It's near water, so I feel like they have a pass, maybe.
Yeah. So we, sorry guys, hopefully if you weren't interested in this, you fast forwarded it, but couldn't let this epic story of misery and woe go by without sharing it with y'all.
No, it's awesome, man. I'm glad you're back on your feet. Glad your family had a good time, and even though you had to miss the gig and the mini nuclear explosion, but that's what videos are for, so you can enjoy it by proxy if you absolutely have to. But so yeah, we'll go into this week's episode. Again, we're going to talk about hiring your first VA, but of course, before we get there, there's a couple more stops along the way, and the first, of course, is everyone's favorite stop, the weekly dad joke.
Time for the weekly dad joke.
Hey, Travis, what do you have for us today?
Well, my bank keeps calling me to give me compliments, which is kind of weird, but hey, I'll take them. You know, I like compliments. They keep saying I have an outstanding balance.
That's very nice of them. It's They obviously haven't seen you with your back injury. Without your back injury, though, I'm sure your balance is outstanding.
Ooh, that was
Yes,
nice.
yes,
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah, it's good. The callback as it is.
Mhm.
So awesome. Use that, folks, at your next poker game party. Let us know the groans that it induces, because we're always wanting to know how people react to our high quality dad jokes. So, with that being said, we're going to move into some Etsy news in this week's point of interest.
Well, howdy, partner. Welcome to the point of interest part of the POD cast. So grab your hat and hold on tight, because we got some learning to do.
All right, some Etsy news, which I'm sure has everyone's interest peaked, because it seems like everyone wants to know about Etsy. What's going on with Etsy? So, Travis, this morning, I think, right, is when this was sent out from Josh Silverman, who is the CEO of Etsy. And there is some updates to listing requirements, image requirements on listings, and along with a plethora of other things that they are kind of fine-tuning and adjusting. But this is the thing that seems to have caught the attention of print-on-demand sellers on that platform, because it very much directly affects them. So tell us a little bit about what that newsletter said and what the ramifications actually are when it comes to these listing image requirement changes.
Well, some of you will remember probably 3 or 4, maybe 5 months ago, Etsy updated their listing image requirements, at least the page that has the listing image requirements on it. And everyone was freaking out because, and I even did a video on it, like, what does this mean? But, and you can see that on our YouTube if you want to go look for it. But the general idea, at least when they first put it out, was that anyone creating a mock-up for a print-on-demand product would have to use the actual mock-ups from the fulfillment partner. So if you're using Printful, you'd have to use Printful's mock-ups. If you're using Printify, you'd have to use Printify mock-ups. Now, some people reportedly, at least they self-reported, they actually got shut down for not doing that. And so, and then other people got inadvertently shut down, for various other reasons. And anytime that happens, and, when a platform makes changes, there's going to be mistakes by the platform, of course, but there's also going to be the people that are like, I don't know what I did, even though I listed Taylor Swift on all of my sweatshirts, or whatever. And so they get shut down, and it's more of a coincidence, because they should have been shut down a long time ago, or they were going to be shut down regardless. It just happened to happen at the same time when the platform was making updates. So anyway, back to today's announcement, and we're going to link to this in the show notes, so you can go, if you didn't get the email or missed it or whatever, you can just click it in the show notes. And it's like you said, it's a message. It's like a 9-minute video or so, but in that there's links to Etsy's creative standards. And then from the Etsy creative standards page, there's listing image requirements, which really kind of spells out what they were trying to do last time and left everybody with questions. And so, Josiah, do you want to read like that section? And then we can kind of talk about, what it means, I guess.
So it says photos of items made with production partners. When working with production partners, the requirements for listing photos vary depending on the item. If you design a unique item, such as a piece of furniture, clothing, or a book, and a production partner manufactures it for you, use a real photo of the physical end product. If you create an original design, such as artwork or a pattern that a production partner prints onto a base item, like a t-shirt or a mug, you may use a stock photo mock-up to illustrate the end product buyers will receive. Buyer personalized items must follow the guidelines in the personalized or customized section above. So it's kind of, that means that for print on demand for a t-shirt and mugs, you can still use a stock photo mock-up to illustrate the end product. So you don't have to purchase the shirt and purchase the mug to list it, unless you want to do a lifestyle shoot, which of course is a whole different conversation, have different types of pictures of people actually using or wearing the physical end product. But as it is right now, you can still use a virtual digital mock-up for
Right.
that, unless it's a book or a piece of furniture or clothing. I
Yeah.
guess that's other than a t-shirt.
Yeah, it's just cool that they actually spelled out, they basically used a print on demand example, which they've
Yeah.
been kind of hesitant to do. I think Etsy's been going back and forth on like whether or not they want to allow print on demand on their platform. And they finally have just said, yeah, it's just it's too
Have to
prolific. We
stay.
have to. Yeah. So, but it's good. And then at the end there, it references the personalized and customized section above, which is on that listing image requirements page. And basically what it's saying as relates to print on demand is that if you do a personalized, like let's say you do a personalized t-shirt or something and
Yeah.
you put the name on it or something, your first image has to be an example of what that finished good will look like. You
Right.
cannot, it says right here, it is prohibited to use a photo of the blank product or a mock-up with placeholder text, i.e. your text here as
Right.
the main image. You can use that as a secondary image, but the first one has to be,
A
an actual
design, like an actual, yeah.
or a picture or whatever, an example of what they're going to get. So, because a lot of times you'll see people are just like, give us your photo and we'll put it on a mug.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm scrolling through thumbnails and I see somebody else's family sitting in front of a lake, am I going to click it?
Right.
Probably not, unless I
Right.
read,
What's
your
going on?
photo, customized photo, or whatever. Or if I've searched that, I might click into that. But them taking away the ability to use your photo here, your text here, as a first image is probably going to slow some of the sales
Yeah.
of those types of products, unfortunately. But again, I'm just so glad that they're finally spelling out exactly what they need from us as print on demand sellers. There's
Right.
much less ambiguity. They've also said that they're going to open up the gates to AI, which is really unique, but it has to be generated by the user. It has to be created by the user with custom inputs. So you can't just, you're not going to be able to just sell a whole bunch of AI generated drawings of cats.
Right.
I think it's going to be more, maybe you can, I don't know. I didn't look into it. I guess I should have before I said that, but, you are going to be able to use AI. I think what they're hoping you're going to use it for is more of the custom idea. So you could
Sure.
use ChatGPT 4 to upload a picture of a dog and tell DALL-E to make this dog into a prince portrait or something. And then
Right.
they're going to put it as a prince and it's going to be the same dog. And then you're going to sell that to the person.
Right. Right.
So more custom, I think that would be their preference. Although, you might be able to get away with, completely AI created digital products as well.
Yeah.
But I would do yourself a favor, check the link, like watch the video in the show notes, and then click a couple of the links. Go to Etsy's creative standards. Okay. There's a lot of examples of what you can and can't do. And then there's the image listing requirements that we've been referencing here. That'll spell out again what they're looking for as far as print on demand goes.
Awesome. Yep. So we'll have that linked in the show notes, like Travis said, so you guys can find that easily. And then again, this particular, like the listing image requirements, it's linked from another page. So do a little bit of digging, click around, and you'll find that those different areas as well, that pertain specifically to listings, the creative standards, and the listing image requirements. So it'll be interesting to see how this evolves, as always, whenever they introduce new things, especially with this kind of opening the gates, to your point, of AI. See how that happens, how they can gatekeep or manage people from not using AI in ways that they don't want them to use AI. And it's just more of that conversation of how can you track that? How do you tag it? How do you kind of police that? So it's going to be interesting to see how all of this evolves moving forward. So, and we'll update you if there's any other news that comes out or anything like that in terms of this specific announcement from Etsy. But until then, everything you need is at that link. So With that, we're going to move to this week's main event.
On a cold, dreary night in September of 2020, Travis Ross and Josiah Cifuentes created the Print on Demand cast. This is the main event.
All right, Travis, we're going to talk about hiring a VA. And for you, the listener, should you hire a virtual assistant, or what it's like to hire your first VA, rather? Now, we've touched on this topic a handful of times in the past in the archive. I think probably the most thorough and complete kind of discussion about virtual assistants is episode 182, titled "Should You Hire a Virtual Assistant?" So you can go back and avail yourself of that as well, because we get a little bit more into the weeds. We're going to cover a lot of the bullet points, maybe not go quite as in depth. And then we're going to wrap things up with Travis kind of walking us through a step-by-step. He's going to share his screen and kind of show the process and things you can do. For this episode, we're going to be talking about Upwork. There's Fiverr, there's onlinejobs.ph. There's a lot of other resources you can use to find virtual assistants. But for this episode, we're going to lean in a little bit into Upwork and what that process looks like. So if you're not watching on YouTube, you're going to want to watch on YouTube, because aside from the firework video, this is going to be practical information that you're going to want to see.
Yeah. I kind of, the reason we're doing this, or the reason I wanted to do this, I know we just did one in 30 episodes ago, or 20 episodes ago, math, Travis, in episode 184. I feel like this is some low hanging fruit that can really help you in a lot of ways. Yeah. And I think that some of our deep dives into how to hire a VA, or should you hire a VA, I think it feels overwhelming. And I want to, the reason we're going to end this whole thing with, like, let's just go to Upwork. Let's, just to heck with onlinejobs.ph and Upwork is really simple. You sign up for a thing and then you can create a job post. It's very simple. And I'm going to show you some of that and take some of the mystery out of it. And so we're going to talk about some of that. So like Josiah said, we're going to bullet point, kind of getting ready to post your job. And then how to do that will be kind of at the end. Hopefully this will light a fire under your butt to actually hire a VA for the first time. And it doesn't necessarily matter what they do. You just need to get that under your, on your resume, so to speak. So when you do have something down the line that you feel, oh, you know what, a VA be perfect for this, you've already gone through the hard work of understanding how to do it. And it's not really even that hard work. So that's kind of the backstory on this whole deal.
Yeah, for sure. It's good to have an idea of how the process works, so that you don't feel like you're up against a wall when you have to hire a VA and then you're just settling for the first one that comes in because you've never done this before. So to Travis's point, you'll have a little bit more time to thoroughly vet the VAs. If this is a process you've done before and you're not feeling like there's a deadline looming, so just kind of helps out your process as well. Make sure that you're finding the best candidate. So it's time. You're going to hire your first VA. First thing you have to do is decide what you want that VA to do for you. They can create original images. I know, Travis, you and I both have had VAs who design designs that we're going to sell on shirts or mugs or what have you. So they're creating, they're graphic designers creating those original images for us to use. The other thing they can do is create listings. Have someone that you give access to your Etsy or Merch on Demand or Amazon Seller Central or Walmart Seller Central, Redbubble, etc. That you'll have them be creating the listings for you and documenting and following your process that you want, so that you don't have to spend that time creating those images. You have someone else doing that for you, allowing you to work on another facet of the business, which ultimately the goal of a VA is to be able to help you do that, to start kind of taking your hands off the super repetitive stuff and start working on other things that will further the business as well. So again, original images, create listings, and they can even do like bookkeeping, receipt management, like the stuff that I hate to do, like bookkeeping. They can do that. You know what I mean? You can outsource that to them, so you don't have to worry as much about what's going on there. So, Travis, what else would you say in terms of what you can ask a VA to do for you?
Yeah, I think for our purposes on this particular show, I think a smaller task would be better. Um, just again to get, get hiring a VA on your resume so you know how to do it. And so it doesn't matter how big the task is. You don't have to hire somebody full time. You don't even have to hire them part time. You can do per job tasks. And so, I mean, I had a spreadsheet that I just needed I needed it tweaked. And I think there was like 20,000 lines or something like that. And it was very repetitive. They just needed to move a few cells and like add a few things to each cell on each line. And so it was like, okay, how long will this take me? Blah, blah, blah. Let's put a dollar amount on it and say, when you finish up all 20,000 lines, you get $200 or $100 or $500. I don't remember exactly what it was, but that was like one task that I needed done. And I didn't want my existing VAs who are full-time, who are paid hourly. I didn't want them spending their time on that, because that was just one project that I could just have them do or have somebody else do. So my VAs could continue to build our business and do the things that they're good at. So I actually hired VAs for my VA. So like an example would be like some type of repetitive task, like a spreadsheet, have them go through all of your listings and populate your master listing sheet and have all of your SKUs on it and explain exactly what you need, have them finish that out, figure out how many listings you have, and then figure out how many SKUs you have and go, okay, well, this sheet is going to be 1,000 lines and it's going to have these columns. And I want them to do that. And I'm going to, I'll give them $50, or whatever you feel comfortable with. That would be a great something that you could then continue to build on as you move forward. And then later when you go, you know what, I want to redo all my SKUs. That's enough, or I should have done it this way or whatever. And you want them to go into Etsy and change all your SKUs, or go into wherever and change all your SKUs and change all this stuff. Again, manual tasks like that, repetitive tasks like that, anything that you can think of. I mean, for a lot of people, maybe it is just to create those original images, and you're really good at finding good ideas and funny things. And so you can just create a spreadsheet that has a link, hey, do something like this, except change it to a trombone instead of a flute. Okay, do something like this and make it for spring instead of winter, or those types of things. That would be a pretty easy task to outsource to a virtual assistant. And there's plenty of them out there.
Yep. And to Travis's point, start small and look at what a realistic budget is for you. You can pay them hourly or you can pay them per project. It's at your discretion, really, how you want to position the payment part of this job posting, and kind of figure out, with Ron, who is our designer, we paid him hourly, and then we ended up shifting to kind of doing per design. And so we've done a little bit of both. It kind of depends on what feels right or what the flow is or how much work you're going to have them do. And if you're going to do hourly as well, I would also say, figure out a way to track those hours. Does Upwork have something that will track that, or is that an outside of Upwork?
Yeah, they do.
Remember.
They have you can, if the project is done completely on Upwork, the person who's doing the job actually has to come to Upwork to start, quote unquote, working on the job. And by doing that, it activates like a timer that'll take screen grabs inside of your, it's like Hubstaff that we used to use. Hubstaff's basically an outsourced or it's the same thing Upwork has natively. It's a third party. Yeah, exactly. So Upwork has all that. So you can check how long they worked on it. You can look at their screenshots to verify that they're actually working on it, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's just good to have that in place as well, just so you know that they're doing the work that you're asking. They did that took that long, or those hours are actually accurate. So that's another thing in place as well. And then, of course, you're going to want to write the job post. So, Travis, what are some tips when you're thinking about, say, your first time listing or a job or posting a job for a VA? What the heck is it supposed to say? What does a good job post look like? How do you find out what that looks like and what will actually attract people to want to apply for the job? Yeah, I mean, I think the best thing I did when I was trying to figure out, I decided what I wanted to do. And then I went to Upwork as a job seeker. And I started typing in what are some job applications that have me designing for Amazon merch on demand, or have me designing for Etsy t-shirts, or, or whatever. And I would type in those kind of keywords, and then I would look at all the jobs and I'd click into them and actually look at other job posts for inspiration. You could even go as far as like having a little spreadsheet with a link to that job post, and then how much they're paying, per hour or per completion, how many they expect, all of those things. Or you could just open up a bunch of tabs, which is probably what I did. And then as you're actually typing out your description, maybe you're copying, pasting, and then kind of editing it as you see fit. But that to me it gives you the inspiration that you need to not be staring at a blank page. And again, not starting because you don't have something to start with. I think just by going to Upwork will give you the inspiration you need to like figure out what you're going to be. You might even find a job posting on Upwork that you're like, oh my gosh, I would love if somebody would do this for me. And it might change your actual project. You just never know. So I think the inspiration factor on a place like Upwork, you can do this on onlinejobs.ph and all the other things we talk about in episode 184, Fiverr too. You can do the same thing. But for our purposes right now, we're going to be focusing on Upwork because it's so freaking simple and they contain everything right there. You don't have to track anything. Upwork does all the job or all of that for you. And again, we're just trying to get that notch on your belt so you can continue to build in your skills as a print-on-demand business owner.
Right. So from there, you're going to look at before you post it as well. And I think finding inspiration and doing it as a job seeker was awesome. The other thing you can do as well is in the application process, you need to decide what that looks like as well. So one thing that I know you talked about, Travis, is like hiding keywords in the application process that they have to respond to you.
Yeah, that's the pro tip at the bottom there.
Yep, the pro tip. Yeah, so I think that's hilarious. Not hilarious, it's smart because it'll weed out a lot of those bots or potential people who aren't really paying that close of attention. So you're going to want to post the job post and then filter through the applications and decide, you want to do 1 round, 2 rounds. How many rounds did you do, Travis, when you would hire a VA? Was it a 3-round process, 2-round process? What did that look like for you?
It kind of depended. I mean, most of the times it was 2 rounds for like a graphics designer. Sometimes it would be 3 because I just got so many that I liked that I'd have like 5 at the end. And then I'd have them go through a second round and, do another project for me that I would pay them for, so they get paid on the first one. And maybe I'd invite 10 to 20 people on the first one. I would pay them all for, I'd pay them all $10 or something like that, or $5 to do 2 unique designs on this topic. And then of that, 15 would actually complete it, or 12 would actually complete it, and then it would have scaled down like that. And then the next round, maybe I only have 3 that I really like. I can probably make a decision if I just want to hire 1 based on those 3, and I only have to have 2 rounds. It really depends on what kind of talent I'm actually seeing. And I mean, I have been known to hire 2 people instead of just 1 when my original goal was to hire 1, but I just liked both of them. And so there was it became more of a on the job tryout, if you will, because I didn't keep those people indefinitely. Eventually maybe a month later or I'd let 1 go because the other one rose to the top. They were better, more detailed, just a better, better at what I hired them to do, et cetera, et cetera. Could have been a multitude of reasons. Yeah.
Kind of like a working interview, they show up and they just
I would tell them that. I'm not just going to rip the rug out from somebody and say, hey, I really like both of you. And I want to hire you both for a 1-month trial period. One of you will get the job at the end of the trial period. One of you will be let go. Are you okay with that? And they'd be, yep. And we were off to the races.
Awesome. Well, let's do the screen share. Let's see some practical tips and walkthroughs here as we kind of round out this episode. Kind of a first, I think, here on the Print on Demand cast. I don't know that we've done something like this where we're actually walking through something practically. So
Okay.
again, guys, if you're not watching this, printondemandcast.com/YouTube is where you can go to find the video version of this episode, because you're going to want to be able to kind of watch along. And if you're wanting to do this for yourself, maybe pull this episode up on YouTube and pull up a tab for Upwork and just kind of follow congruently in terms of when it's time to
Yeah.
post that job. Obviously, Travis has his account created, so we're not going to go over that portion of it in terms of opening up a new account. This is post, the account has been created. You're ready to list that first job. That's where you kind of drop into this conversation in this video, just kind of see what Travis is doing here.
Yeah. And so if you want to find this on YouTube, it's about 35 to 36 minutes in, depending on what else is on there. But yeah, so check that out. I'm going to go ahead and enlarge it. Okay. Thank you. And all right. So this is the, sorry, I'm getting situated here. This is kind of the home page. And you see up here, you've got jobs, talent, reports, and messages. Really, we're going to live in these two first tabs, at least today. But when I mentioned earlier about coming here to get inspired, you can come to this search bar and there's a drop down here. So talent, you're looking for workers, projects, or jobs, you're looking for jobs. So I could go to jobs and then I could search merch by Amazon, not mercy by Amazon, merch by Amazon.
There is no mercy at Amazon.
No. And so when I click that, let's see what comes up. Graphics designer needed for daily merch by Amazon designs. So this would be a great one to look at, so I can click in here and I can see we are seeking a talented graphic designer for our merch by Amazon business. Create 1 to 3 unique, high quality designs daily with the potential for increased output over time. And then you can scroll down here and you can see what this client's history with these jobs are actually like. This client has done all of these things.
Yeah.
And so you can see different other jobs that they've done. You can also see over here, it doesn't say exactly. Yeah, it's contract to hire opportunity. This lets the talent know that this job could become full-time. It's not saying exactly what they're paying. Can't find exactly, but they've had 20 to 50 proposals. So again, open a merch by Amazon account, Amazon researcher. These are different things. Upload listings to merch by Amazon. Looks like they've paid $70 for this. So they've probably had multiple people doing it. But again, this will just give you an idea of what you could, t-shirt designer for long-term cooperation. I mean, this is a good one. Hey, are you a creative mastermind? Is drawing, prototyping, and digitalization your work of passion? Have you have experience with merch by Amazon? Blah, 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 blah. What we can offer. What do we expect? Conditions. In the beginning, I'm going to pay $7 USD per design. Payment will be done in a batch of 10. So when you get 10 done, you get $70. So, and then they did the pro tip down here at the bottom. It says test to ensure that you have read the description. Write in your first message when you apply, restart 2022 in the header. So this is an older listing, obviously, but you get the idea. Yeah. It's posted 2 years ago to worldwide. I don't know how many people have actually done this, but it looks like, somebody's been going for multiple years here, so some people maybe are just doing it a little bit, but the idea is to get an idea by switching this little tab up here to jobs and putting in your keyword. You could do Etsy or, spreadsheet or, whatever, personal assistant, et cetera, et cetera. So once you've decided on what you want to do, you can literally post a job right here. Here's a bunch of job posts that I have created over the years. Virtual assistant needed for short-term listing. Create editable graphics based on this is kind of what we did. We hired one. Most of our hires came from this is 8 years ago. So I have 3 pages of this. So, I have not used this one as much as I did online jobs.ph. That's where I hired most of this was more of I have a quick idea. I want to try it really fast. I want to pay somebody $10 to do this one thing. And so it's really, it's more of a quick hitter. And then if I want to continue to do it long-term, maybe I do switch to onlinejobs.ph. And one of the reasons is because then I can pay them. So if online jobs or Upwork takes 20% or 25%, I can't remember. So I think if you pay somebody $5 an hour, they'll get 4. So on onlinejobs.ph, I can just pay them 4 and I only pay 4, or I can just pay them 5 and they'll get the whole 5. So you get the idea. That's one of the reasons I like to do it there. I also can pay via PayPal. With Upwork, you have to pay through their platform, et cetera, et cetera. It's all very easy. With onlinejobs.ph, if you want to track time, you're going to have to pay for Hubstaff or a similar service that's a time tracking software. Upwork includes that. So it might be worth it to just do this. Same thing. So once you've created some of these jobs, you can go to talent and you could discover talent that you want to invite to your job. So let's say I wanted to do this. Let's see. Yeah, we hired somebody for this one in 2022. Virtual assistant needed for short-term listing updates. And this is, so you can view the job post here. Yeah, we are an up-and-coming merchandise sales company that needs a reliable virtual assistant for a short-term project. Updating old online listing pictures with updated versions of our products. We will provide specific instructions upon hire. This is my, at the time, project or operations manager, Amy, did this. And then all individuals considered must have the following qualifications, blah, 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 fluent in English, communication skills. And it was $100 fixed price for this particular project. And I don't know exactly what we did, but we ended up hiring this lady and she did everything we asked her to. We paid it to her and she was done. And then she went on to get hired by somebody else. So you can go to discover, and let's say I wanted a virtual assistant. I could do that. And I've got, where did that go? Virtual assistant. Come on. There. And here's a bunch of people. And I could go through here and look. This guy's saying $6 an hour. He's got a video I could watch. I can look at all of the 26 jobs related to my search that he's worked. Same here, $10 an hour. Oh, I do want to say these numbers, the $6 an hour, the $10 an hour, all of that stuff does not really come into play. They're going to, you're going to be setting the price. So I've got people that, have $20 an hour work for me for $5 an hour, so you don't necessarily need, here's $25 an hour from India. Unless they're going to be doing some really great things, you can, I don't need to pay them $25 an hour. I can get that probably in the US. You can also scale. You can say you want a top rated one, or you can say, I only want to pay up to $10. And so it'll filter it all. I'm just having them doing data entry. So I want to make sure they have that skill and it's going to be in Microsoft Excel. You get the idea. You can filter it pretty good. You can also say, I want my talent location to come from, Asia, or the Philippines, or, all of those different places, or US only. So there's a lot of filters that you can use on this whole thing. And then the last thing I wanted to show. So that was talent discovering. So after you've posted your job, which is pretty easy, if you click post a job, you can do a short-term project, less than 30 hours a week, or shorter than 3 months if you just want to do a quick one, so then you're going to continue and you're going to write a job title, and then you're going to continue, and then you're going to, it's going to be a graphic design, or you can look at all the categories. It's going to walk you through it. 1 of 6 pages to create this post. I would recommend using bullet points. I think that helps kind of break up and make it easier to read. And then I'd also obviously recommend putting in that, start your actual application with the word banana or whatever,
Right.
just to weed out some of those people. One of the things that I thought was really cool too, you can also search by talent. And like I just did Etsy listings. So somebody who wanted to do an Etsy listing, and I just wanted to show this to you because I thought this particular person that I found here, was it Annabelle? It was, right? It was Annabelle. $7
Yes.
an hour is what she's asking for. If you click on this text right here, it'll open up this little slide thing here. And you can click on more. If you're looking for someone who can help you with everything about Etsy with a free trial, I'm here. If you want to improve your Etsy and store SEO, I'm here. If you want someone who cares and knows your money and time's worth, it's me. Blah, blah, blah. SEO tools she uses, eRank, Everbee, other tools and sites she knows, Printify, Printful, Shine On, Canva, Photoshop, Etsy ads. As your virtual assistant, I'm committed to streamline. So she could do pretty much anything you wanted her to do. She could rank all your things. She could do some research for you. She could set you up with different products from different manufacturers. Like maybe you don't sell any jewelry, and she could hook you up with Shine On. There's a lot of different things you could say. Again, we want to keep it simple, so we want to just do one thing. But you could say, hey, you could contact this girl, message her, and say, here's my project. I would just like to do a little test run.
Yeah.
And here's how much I'm offering you, because I think it'll take about this long and whatever. That would be a really easy way to get your first VA. You can also go down here and look at work history, and you can see the actual job posts for when she did Etsy store manager from May 21st to June 23rd. And you can click in here and you can see all of this information. You can view the entire job post if you want. So let's open that up. And this was pretty basic. Need an Etsy store manager to start listing products and managing all aspects of the store. That was their job post. And they got this girl to work for them for months. So you can see, again, this goes back to kind of getting inspired or getting inspiration for things that you might want to have done. Or might want to have done for you by a VA. This is another one. It's just so simple, and you can look at all of this stuff and it can really, I guess you just don't have to it doesn't have to be really difficult.
Right.
You just saw 2 1-line
job descriptions.
This one's paying $3 an hour.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Her profile says $7 an hour, which you can see she's worked for 3 or 5 on the job post. So to Travis's point, that number on their profile isn't set in stone, right? So she worked for 5, even though her profile says 7. So again, you have a lot of leverage in what that pay scale looks like.
Yeah, she's even got, this is part of her. If you scroll down, you can see the what's it called, the gallery, or this is, what is it called, portfolio. And you can see her portfolio. She's showing different things that she's done. Got 2 orders. Wow. Hey, that's better than some of our listeners. It's better than some of my, some of the people I've helped, but you get the idea. Product lister and optimizer. You can see all these different things just based on her profile. And all I did was I searched talent and I did Etsy listings. And then there's, not kidding, hundreds. You can go page to page. There's 4 pages after pages. Yeah. I don't know how many pages there are, but there's probably 100 that are related. Okay. So I think what the best way to wrap this up is just give you some tough love, I guess. There are some of you that you have a project that has been burning in the back of your head, and this episode, all it did was just reignite that fire in the back of your head. And you're like, yeah, I know I need to do this. I've needed to do this. And so here's your wake up call. It's so simple. Go create an account, and just post a job and start taking applications. It's that simple. It's not difficult. You will find somebody that is going to be beyond your expectations, because there are things that these people can do that you may not even know how to do. And if you can create a good rapport with them, they can be so vital to your business. But let's forget about the future. Let's talk about the now. It doesn't have to be a big project. It could be 10 designs. You just want 10 designs that you're going to put on other things. It could just be your designs put on various colors of mock-ups, for a t-shirt or whatever. I want you to take this picture and this picture, use a smart object and put it together and make it look awesome. And I want you to do that on all of these, and I want you to come up with, 5 more pictures for it or something. You could do anything you want to do, but the point is, just go do it. Get on Upwork. We don't have an affiliate link or anything like that. Just go and get an account and hire somebody, and it'll blow you away. And then, like I say, that'll kind of notch that. You'll have that skill. You'll be able to come back to it when you have another good idea, and there won't be so much like mental barrier that'll set you back or make you procrastinate because you think it's going to be so hard or whatever. You'll have done it, and you'll have an account, and it'll be easy, and you'll know how to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
there you go.
Love?
That is, it's good, tough love. We tell people all the time that the worst action is inaction. So take the things we're telling you in this episode and put them to use. Try it. Let us know if you have questions. You can reach out to us. If you need to ask a question that maybe we didn't answer in this particular episode, reach out to us. Let us know. We'd love to be able to help you. But take the tools that you have and start building. Start doing something with it, because that's the only way that you will find yourself further along 6, 9, 12 months from now, is if you start putting these things into action. So thank you guys so much for listening again to another episode of the Print on Demand cast. As always, if you have not already, be sure to sign up for our weekly email, printondemandcast.com/VIPs, where you can go to do that. Get more tips, tricks, tidbits, insights to the print on demand industry, things that were mentioned in the show, things that we maybe dive a little bit deeper on that we did mention in the show. So if you want to know all things print on demand cast, that's where you can go. And you get an extra dad joke as well, which is a huge perk. So you have more ammunition for your water cooler talk during the week or your parties. And then you'll also get a design calendar that will help you know what is coming up and what you should be designing for. Spoiler alert, we already passed Halfmas. Okay. We're halfway to Christmas by now, more than halfway to Christmas by now. So Q4 is even closer than that. So start getting those ducks in a row. I'm sure we'll do our annual Q4 check-in to see where all of you are, but that design calendar definitely helps kind of get things lined out to what is upcoming and to prepare you better for that season. Travis, anything else you want to say about the VIP list?
I don't think so. They get a 2 advertisements every week. We need to really change those up at some point.
Yes, absolutely. Well, awesome. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. But until then, for Travis, I'm Josiah. We'll see you right here on the Print on Demand cast.
We'll see you.
Hey, babe. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Print on Demand cast. We hope you enjoyed the Totally Tubular show. If you got a question or a suggestion for the show, send Travis and Josiah an email at info@printondemandcast.com. Want to be wicked nice? Take a minute to rate and review the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe now so you don't miss next week's episode. See you next time, for sure.